Today we're going to talk about persuasion and influence in media, in social media. And so, these 7 people, what do they have in common? Elvis, Hitler, Dr. Spock, Walt Disney, Lady Thatcher, Lenin, Martin Luther King Jr. What do they all have in common? They've all been listed, whether you agree with them or not, whether they did heinous things, whether they did amazing things, they were all listed as in the top 100 most influential people in the 20th century. Let's discuss the definition of influence. Influence equals change. If you're not changing their attitude, their actions, their perceptions, you're not influencing them. And so you may be noise, you may be background, you may be informing them, but you're not influencing them if there's not some sort of change. What today we're going to learn is the triggers, the strings that we can strum to make sure that we're more influential within the circles that we turn. So, we'll be using influence and persuasion in social media to take over the world. That being said, here are the 6 elements. We have equivalent exchange. Reciprocity, do for me and I do for you. We have commitment and consistency because we love our comfort zones. Consensus because there's safety in numbers. Things that we like, authority, and scarcity. Those are the 6 main elements of persuasion. We have a warning too. Following these techniques and please only use them for good, do not use them for evil. We would be very disappointed in you if you were to use these for bad things or to do ill to people. So, under no circumstances should they be used. The first one, equivalent exchange, reciprocity. All human cultures believe that I am obligated to give to you or to act towards you in the same way you act towards me. That's just the way that that all human cultures, all human interaction works. And so we do things for those who do for us. In society, we feel obligated. They buy me lunch, I have to buy them lunch. They bought my wife a birthday present, we have to buy them a birthday present. They invited us to their kid's birthday party, we got to invite them to our children's birthday parties. You see this on social media, share for share, like for like. People love to do that, to try and get you to like their page, even though they've got 17,000 people on there and nobody knows what they're really for. So one of the things that we do is give free content because that builds an audience, it builds trust, and you shouldn't be asking, even in personal networking, you shouldn't be asking, what can you do for me? It's what can I do for you? And you actually start building that chain and those links to people where when you need something done, they feel obligated to help you. It's very interesting, they did research with restaurants, and what they found out was that if the server brings you a mint and leaves it on the table, one for each person there, the tips go up over 3%. But if the server brings 2 mints, the tips go up over 14%. Because we are wired that if somebody does something unexpected for us that we will benefit from, that we are to give back to them even more. So, you shouldn't be asking who can help you, you should be asking how can I help other people. The second one, consistency and commitment. We crave consistency. We crave that comfort zone. People want to see presenters in social media who are consistent in their ways and actions. This is Dave Ramsey's big deal because for his big deal, no debt ever. Don't get into any debt. And I've worked with Dave in his office for the last 15 years, and I've had people say, well, what about this situation? And I said, Dave has to be consistent. He's got to be completely consistent. You can't say, well, yeah, you're okay, go ahead and take out that loan for that motorcycle, but don't take out that car loan. He's got to be completely consistent, and he is, in the way that he operates his business, the way that he coaches people. So, We also want to appear consistent to the people around us. And one of the things that helps with is if we're taking small steps. If you ask them to take a small step, you know what? Subscribe to my Periscope feed. Subscribe to my newsletter. Here's something free and I'll send you a newsletter. The Project Blue State is really, really good at this. They even published this online and they said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to ask for an email address first. It's a very small commitment. Then later on we'll ask for a phone number and an address. And then later on we'll say, you know, would you like to come volunteer at a campaign? Would you like to just stuff envelopes? You don't have to talk to anybody. Just sit in the corner and stuff envelopes if that's what you want. How about, you know what, those people that you met at that headquarters, they're going to go block walking this Saturday. Why don't you go with them block walking? And then it's like, you know, how about a small donation? Even $2 a month, and just they built on increments in order to get people to commit. And people, because you've committed already this much, it's easy to take those steps with them. How many email lists have you subscribed to that you really only read the subject line of the emails? So we go to the next one, where you're already subscribed to too many RSS feeds, too many blogs and newsletters. You're probably not reading them all anyway. Gravatar and Discuss, they are two of the social media login comment services, if you will. And so what they found is because if you log into a newsletter, you log into a blog, and your avatar is at the bottom of that in the comment section already, because whoever writes that blog is a subscriber to Discuss or to Gravatar, and you are much more likely to go ahead and leave a comment. That means socially interact with those people. Now you're invested in that discussion. And how many discussions have we ended up in 1, 2, 3 days later even, as people are making comments that we may or may not agree with because we made that first comment. So, if you remind people of their previous positive commitments that they've got, give them perks. That's gamification that's going on too. Public displays, list their name. You know, we were on a webinar last night and they were giving shout outs to people. If you see people on Periscope and they'll be like, hey, tell us where you're calling in from, or tell us where you're dialing in from. Great, you know, San Francisco's in the house, Morocco, and they'll go through all those. People love those. So make it easy to increase their commitments as they take those baby steps, and you will definitely see more influence on those people. Let's go to consensus, safety in numbers. What did Mom say? Mom said if everybody jumped off the bridge, would you too? One of my daughter's high school friends said, probably so, I don't want to be left behind the other day. This is a shortcut that people use when they're unsure about what to do. Look at Amazon. Look at Yelp. Look at TripAdvisor. Look at eBay. YouTube. They've all built their business models on feedback, on other people's ratings, on all of that. That's exactly what we're talking about here. It used to be that we only compared ourselves with our friends and neighbors. Now the internet, we compare ourselves to the world, and we're looking for that consensus because we think that sanity is statistical. Let's talk about hotels here. This is a card from one of the hotels we went by and got, and it talks about the guests and the towels. You've seen this card. Please use your towels multiple days, those sorts of things. What they found out is when they put these cards in, that 32% of the people reuse their towels. Now, when they changed the wording of it and said that a majority of our hotel guests reuse towels, instead of just said worldwide like this one does, they saw that number go up from the baseline up another 29%. And when they actually changed the wording to say the people in this room reuse their towels, it went up 41%. That's a significant savings to that hotel. That's a pretty significant influence over those people in that room. And so that's because when they said the The majority of the guests staying in this room. Well, now it's a consensus. Sanity is statistical, right? So what do you do to build consensus? You're creating value for others, because what you want is the social proof that comes with that. Endorsements. If people endorse you, if you get, like when I was auditioning to be the announcer for our baseball team, I had the announcer for the Houston Astros endorsing me. That, be a guest, be a guest on someone else's blog, someone else's video, someone else's broadcast. What that does is that gives you their influence on you. It also builds your network and commitments. Let's talk about our likes. We prefer to say yes to people we know and like. It's the halo effect. We do business with people we know and like. So when we share information about ourselves, when we tell about ourselves, it shows that we have common goals, similar interests. When you give honest praise to people, that also makes them like you more. And all those things immediately begin to build you rapport. So how do you do that on your website? An attractively designed blog, higher production quality videos, give them compliments, feedback on their blogs. And if you go and you do charity events, I just saw a couple of leaders in my profession were at an event, $5,000 a ticket, but what it does is it gives you that halo effect that they were going. So, moving on to authority. Having authority versus being authority. This is getting information from a legitimate. When you get information from a legitimate authority, it's another shortcut that we use because we're all busy. We can't be experts in everything. What woman has the most influence in America? Oprah. And what's she an expert in? Nothing. She interviews other people, and that's made her the most influential woman. Another thing you can do for influence is, like Berkshire Hathaway, what they do, what Buffett does at the meetings that they have for their shareholders. He immediately comes out and goes, look, these were the bad stuff that was going on. If you talk about a downfall, something bad with your whatever you've got, that will allow you to actually build more trust with people. It gives you more authority because now you're giving the good parts and the bad parts. And so, scarcity is another one. One of the most used tools. Look at Thanksgiving night. What do you see? Long lines wrapped around stores. You see, because whatever it is in there is scarce, right? Harry Dent is an economist and a demographer. He opened up a thing. He said, I'm opening this up to only 50 people. Well, there's scarcity right there. It was also $7,500 a person. It was a program that he was doing. We use limited times. We use limited spaces. We say, hey, this is only good for the next 10 minutes. Last night, Grant Cardone did a website. It was only did a webcast. The offer that he was doing was only going to be open for the next hour afterwards, and people were scrambling afterwards saying, what could I do, what could I do? That's the scarcity. It's a limited time frame. It's a limited, there's only a few of them. It's a limited time frame. It's one of the most used tools for social marketing and in social media. And also, look at the commercials on TV. So, our 6 elements: equivalent exchange, commitment, consistency, consensus, because there's safety in numbers, social proof, basically, the things we like, authority, and scarcity. Some quick bonus tips: use reciprocity, give people with high value content, share, leave thoughtful comments and compliments, be committed and consistent, commit to consistent engagement with people. If you're going to be on a social media platform, be on that social media platform consistently, whether it's once a week, whether it's every 2 weeks, whether it's once a day, whatever you've committed to, be consistent with that. Use consensus as credibility cues when appropriate. Coordinate within your community on larger events for the greater good. That's the Using the halo effect. Be professional and inspiring. Dress for success. Dress your blog up, your website. Make it look professional. Don't make it look like the free one that you were able to just cut and paste and drop stuff into. Your social media landing page should be something that looks business-like, looks professional, no matter what it is you're trying to convey. And when trying to spark immediate action, use the scarcity principle. Look, I'm only going to be doing this for the next week. I'm only going to be doing this for the next 3 days. You only have the next 2 hours to respond. Core concepts, all things being equal, consumers are going to give something of value when they feel that they've really received something of value. They're going to be consistent with their path or their approach. They're more likely to purchase from someone they know and like, and more importantly, someone who knows and likes them. They're going to purchase from authorities or purchase based on the word of authority. Their purchases are going to be based on the recommendations of others because that's the social proof that they're looking for. And if quantities are perceived to be scarce, they're really going to want them even more. So with that, that's the basics of using influence and persuasion in social media. That's how you take over the world. Thank you.